and what we can expect in this way, and what is the future look of Gaza from 2024 till 2046. So there should be no wars, there should be no terrorism, there should be no exclusion, discrimination, or segregation on the world, but they are there, coupled with geopolitical interests, with narratives that rationalize brutal actions, shape of our understanding of conflicts, and influence comes. Decades of military interventions in the region Israel and Palestine include preemptive wars and occupation, 1976, military attacks 73, when was Yom Kippur War, then invasions and wars 1982, 1987 till 1993, then 2000 and 2005, selectivity target, bloodshed with civilian conclusions and accepted losses from 2006 till 2023. Such policy have once again set deadly trap for the civilian population in the entire region, which has become particularly brutal for the civilians in the Gaza Strip. The historical causes of the conflict can be sought in the colonial ambitions of the Ottoman Empire and Britain in this particular part of the world, or can see the reason in the current global power games and interests. But in reality, nothing justifies destruction and death. War and terror are all too often the means of choice for those in political power. So, astrological foundations of these conflicts, we can first of all have to see the birth charts of Israel and Palestine. When we set out to investigate the astrological background of the recent war, I began to start research national horoscopes, and I saw the lots of important things. Both Israelis and Palestinians are historical and culturally connected to the same piece of land in Mediterranean. The beginning of Israel as independent state is linked to the end of British mandate over Palestine and was established in United Nations Plan of 3rd September 1947, which proposed two independent states. The plan was rejected, of course, and led to a series of wars between 1967 and 1949, known as Arab-Israeli War. In the middle of this war, the British withdrew from the region, putting the official expiration of their mandate on May 25, 1948, and Israel proclaimed the state on May 14, 1948, while the midnight horoscope of May 15 is commonly used to analyze Palestine and its cause. The constellations of 15 May, Sun on Algolia, 1948, show application in certain charts, and very difficult horoscope and very bad horoscope. The two horoscopes are only a few hours apart. That means that Israel and Palestine have the same horoscope, yeah? And very, very identical aspects. So the two horoscopes are only a few hours apart, so their position of planets are almost identical. The difference lies in the angles and the degree of the moon. The Leo stellium is positioned in the 10th house of the Israel chart and 7th house of the midnight chart of Palestine. The moon is changeable planet whose influence depends on its configuration, and it's very fast. 2 days, the moon stays 2 days in the same horoscope sign. Here is the conjunction with Saturn and Pluto, which makes it manifest in malefic way. The moon is natural significator for the common people. So, when we want to say what is the some people are, who are they, we have to manage where is the moon of that country. If that moon is, I don't know, in Taurus, they the meaning of Taurus. So it's economical, like in Holland. Holland is in a symbol of the Taurus. So that's agriculture country, everything is agriculture, flowers, and it's Holland. So the moon is natural significator of the common people, and it is the angle with the 3 malefics, Pluto, Saturn, and Mars. So what we can see here, suffer, because Pluto, Saturn, and Mars are malefic, and they wouldn't give anything good to people who are there. That means that entities were born that create dangerous and harmful circumstances for the civilian population in this region. And there is, of course, the point 15 May means that Sun is on Algol. So that means suffer, because 3rd decade of Taurus is Saturnus energy. So Saturn always brings the same thing, shit. Learning, hard working, hard life, persistent life. Okay, it's ambitious too, very ambitious planet, and Capricorn is very ambitious side. But from other side, we see the just struggle. And struggle is very, very hard. So, because Mars in Leo, in both charts, in a chart of Palestine and in chart of Israel, we see the same planet. Mars in Leo is very brave, but very aggressive and hot and dry planet. The conjunction with Saturn in Leo too makes the heat tensions. When the Sun in Taurus squares Mars in Leo, and very near Mars in Leo is the star Regulus. It's very, very hard star and very malefic star, very typical as Algol, and the same energy. We see the energy of conflict and the problem. The aspects between the Sun and Mars is a received square. Sun receives Mars in Leo, adding strength to the mix. With 4 angular planets in the sign of Leo, the influence takes on choleric explosion. Metaphorically speaking, too much heat produces even more heat, resulting in terrible circumstances. So we can see that like a war. How we can describe Mars in Leo on Regulus and Sun on Algol? The most dangerous astrological positions. The accidental significations for the people in both charts are malefics. Mars ruled the ascendant in the horoscope of Israel. So the Israel always will be militant zone, and when we just want to imagine Israel, okay, we are thinking of Holy Land, okay, but about what we are thinking too, about Mossad, about military policies there, okay? And Saturn in the Palestine chart, which collaborates for the argument for the danger and risk for the civilian, is 2 on ascendant. So we can say that Palestine and Israel have got copy-paste charts. Similar, I have talked about that on Croatian language. 2 years ago when I was speaking about Ukraine and Russia. They have got almost the same horoscope. It's the same thing like when I'm speaking about Serbia and Croatia. They have got the two same horoscope. Why? Because they separate in the same time. Because they have got the same background, the same history. It's the same thing as Israel and Palestine. So I will make now the deeper analysis of Israel national horoscope. I was using the book of world horoscopes, Nick's Champion, and we have presents 2 times here for the horoscope of Israel's, which are 40 hours and 32 and 40 hours and 37. The first time give us 29 degree of Libra for ascendant of Israel, but when we turned little bit so 40 and 37, we have got the null degree of Scorpio. I think that is about null degree of Scorpio, because null degree of Scorpio is ultimative Mars degree. So that's Aries degree in Scorpio. So it's Mars, very, very strong Mars. Considering that the influence of sign effectively expires in the last degree, and we see the beginnings of the new sign, we can say that Mars, the ruler of war, is signification of Israel. So, very interesting is that Israel is ascendant Scorpio, like United States of America. They have got ascendant in Scorpio too. Mars in Scorpio, Mars on ascendant or Mars in Scorpio gains enormous strength because it disposes of the 0 degrees of Scorpio not only by domicile and triplicity, but on null, odnosno, to jest zero, I'm thinking on Croatia, on 0 degrees of Scorpio. At the same time, Scorpio is the sign of Venus, determinant, with Taurus at descendant. Venus is significator of Israeli enemies. Venus is also strongly influenced by malefic Mars, who dispose her triplicity and terror. So, just on marginally note, I want to point out that in classical astrological literature, Venus was given rulership over Arabs, and Saturn has the rulership over Jews. In the context of this horoscope, the afflicted Saturn in the 10th house would implicate for Jews. Nevertheless, that Saturn is strong, and more dominant than Venus. Venus is weak in this case, and we can see everything about Palestinian people in horoscope of Israel. In any case, the very last of very first degree on sign on the ascendant is linked with the general instability of state. Every 0 degrees of Scorpion, Libra, is instability. And the 3 harmful planets in the 10th house elevated Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, and indicate unfortunate events and bloodsheds. The Sun in Taurus in 10th house symbolizes government, but that government is on Algol. So the presence of Mars and Saturn in 10th house and their square with the Sun is symbol of affliction, struggle of people, suffering of people. Israeli policy is being critically questioned international, perhaps currently more plainly than before. It is recognized that democratic values were not applied to the Palestinian civilian population during the decades-long occupation of Gaza Strip and the subsequent blockade and the settlement policy considered illegal under international law. When the moon is located in 10th house, it usually symbolizes prosperity and good fortune. It's true for the people. However, the presence of South Node in the first house, that means when we see the moon, but moon is making the square with the sun and 2 with the Mars. So that's very weak position for Israel people. The Aries Ingress 2023 chart for Israel set the tone for the upcoming year. The full moon on 7th March and the new moon on 21st March share a common material theme, with the Mars in Gemini forming a squaring aspect with the moon in both lunations. In the Aries Ingress chart, Mars is positioned strongly in the angle and forms a square with the luminaries in the 7th house. Mars is a mutual reception with Mercury, which rules that MC, and the future reinforces the symbolism of armed conflict. So now with Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries, we can't expect peaceful situation, and we can't expect any diplomatic way or resolutions or any diplomatic way of this, like a key of this conflict. So when we see the ingress of this year, or this autumn ingress, 21st September 2025, we see that Mars was in a quadrat with Uran in Gemini. We have got very hard application of Mars and Pluton. Mars was in Scorpion in that moment, and we have got a Pluton in Aquarius. Mars, Pluton in Aquarius, that means they are on ascendant of Israel, and they are on ascendant of Palestine, on 0 degrees. In the most Mars way and the more Mars past part in Scorpio. So we can expect escalation of war and escalation of problems in this part of world. So in Middle East, I don't see the peace for a long time, and especially now in springtime, we can, with this position of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, we can expect, unfortunately, the big problems, war, and big war escalation. I was making the very interesting analysis for 7 October attack chart. The Israeli horoscope for attack chart 7 October 2023 reveals that transiting Uran is almost in conjunction with the Sun in 8th house. Transiting Pluton is only few degrees from the square to Israel ascendant, while transiting Mars is applying to conjunction with ascendant. So we see the one thing. Last time we have got the shit in the Middle East when Mars was in Scorpion. Like now, Mars in Scorpion, and we have got bloodshed in Middle East. Transition Venus, then 2023, with malicious connotation in conjunction with the national Mars. Then in a perspective now, what we can expect in long-term astrological perspective from 2022 to 2046, we have got very interesting Uran and Pluto aspects. That means instability, intensity, and I'm going to move on from the ingress technique and turn my attention to two maleficators, Uran and Pluton. Their transits over Israel founding chart give us grim outlook on the conflict that has persisted there for decades. There is no general Uran and Pluton square in the skies, as during the series between 2011 till 2014, they we called Arab Spring. But Pluto and Uran consistently afflict the most prominent constellation in predominant choleric and fixed horoscope of Israeli proclamation. Transits also can't predict events like war and peace, but they can respond with signification development it will be. In a horoscope dominant by fixed stellium of malefic planets, such transits come with the risk of destruction and death. And why I see destruction of death? Because Israel have got a dominant energy of Taurus and energy of Scorpion. And now we have got again Uran in retrograde way in Taurus, and we have got Pluton in Aquarius. So that means it would be quadrate. We can try to find out what's happened with K transits between 2018 till 2027. Transitic Uran start to cross the sensitive points of Israel horoscope already in 2018. The Uran in opposition to ascendant in 2018 corresponds when Uran was in Taurus, made opposition 2018, okay, on ascendant Scorpio. And this is correspond with signification of new escalation of Israeli-Palestinian conflict in October 2018. Since then, Uran formed a square to MC and the three prominent planets in the 10th house, Moon, Pluton, and Saturn. Between the middle of 2022 and spring 2023, Uranus was transiting the 7th house of open enemies. So we see their stubborn Saturn to destructive action through the square aspects. See about the analysis that Saturn made before. That's the astrological image of tensions building up as backdrop of the Hamas attack in October 2023 and subsequent war. From middle 2024, Uran start to conjunction with the Sun in the 8th house of Israel and Palestine. Uran was on Algol, very, very dangerous and very, very afflicted star, where Pluton approached the square with ascendant of Israel and Palestine. The combination suggests eruptive times, escalation, war escalation, and with the symbolism, of course, of the 8th house, included that in general, and unstable support from the foreign countries. These aspects will be followed by several oppositions to the prominent planets of the 10th house later years. In 2025, Uran provokes the malefic Mars in 10th house. Now, this moment, through the square, and especially from 8th November, when Uran returned to Taurus. In 2026, Pluton make opposition to MC of Israel and Palestine 3 times and reaches many times the opposition with Moon. That means suffer, blood and war. And final hit in January 2027, as I previously noted, the Moon is a general signification for civilians. Pluton transits to MC, and Moon may indicate a culmination of destructive action and pressure from the opposition in Israel. So, till 2027, I don't see anything good, just escalation of war, and there wouldn't be peace. There is no peace. We as astrologers believe that inspection horoscopes are relevant to the future of the entities they describe. I wonder how it is even possible to achieve a peaceful life for the citizens with such heavily application proclamation horoscope. Who is insane that can proclaim the country with sun on algol? Just idiot. It would be a gross and big oversimplification to look only at Israeli horoscope and claim that peace in the region depends only on the changes in Israel policies. The animosity towards Israel is significant in the inception charts, so we can only hope Pluto opposition to the MC in 2026 will bring changes that aim to elevate tensions, but the challenging transits, constellations will continue. 3 years later, in 2030, the solar arc Pluto from Israel's natal chart forms a conjunction with ascendant, while transiting Pluto begins to make opposition to the natal position. After that, until 2043, Pluto in Aquarius, of course, make opposition to Saturn, square to Sun, and make opposition to Mars in Israeli chart. Around that time, in 2014, transiting Uran will reach the MC and start forming the conjunctions with the planets in 10th house. And that 2040, I see the resolution, I see the key for this, for Middle East. In 2046, Uranus will reach the conjunction to Mars in the 10th house, and the last planet in stellium that suggests continuous instability in this situation for all those years. Znači, for all those years till 2046, there will be instabilities. Now I will take the look in the past. The year 2024 marks 30 years of Palestine autonomy, which came into effect in 1994 after signing of the Israeli-Paleo Peace Accord in Washington on 30 September 1993. Israel's official objective in this war is to remove Hamas, and according to the options of observers, some other goals may be at play with the current far-right government in Israel. Observers like the possible of the attempts to domestic and international pressure on this government and to the strengthening of moderate political forces in Israel. Although I have analyzed the astrological constellation regarding the long-term perspectives of the Israel-Palestine conflicts, I will look at the upcoming ingress horoscope and the chances to make peace from this 2025 to 2026, and I don't see in this period any possibility for the peace, because we are now entering, how I say, in Mars quadrat Pluto lunacy, and it's very hard, especially for Israel, because Israel is Scorpion on ascendant, and Palestine too is Scorpion on ascendant. So the peace will be available in 14th, so we have got a long time till then. I wish you a pleasant day and nice day, and thank you very much for listening me and this my video. Have a nice day.